I'm Ashley Bullington, and you're watching The Warmup, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents. It's time to get warmed up for week 1 of Texas high school football. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the season. It's week 1, and here at The Warmup, we couldn't be more fired up about the beginning of Texas high school football. Non-district games always give us some very intriguing matchups, and this year is no exception. So let's not waste any more time and take a look at some of the big week 1 games. Let's start with Denton Guyer visiting Aledo. The Bearcats took it to Guyer in last year's opener, and they bring back a dangerous trio in quarterback Jake Bishop, running back Jace McClellan, and wide receiver JoJo Earl. But last year, it was Wildcats QB Eli Stowers' first varsity game. Since then, he got a whole year under his belt, and now the Texas A&M commit is seasoned and should have a better showing in Aledo. Look for this game to go down to the fourth quarter. Highland Park and Rockwall has turned out to be one of the must-see non-district games in the metroplex. Rockwall beat the Scots 2 years ago in the season opener, and Highland Park hasn't lost since. Last year, Rockwall led late, only to have Chandler Morris account for 3 consecutive scores and a Scots victory. The Jackets have Ohio State-bound Jackson Smith-Njigba, but Highland Park defensive end Prince Dorba should cause havoc to the new Rockwall quarterback. The Tom Landry Classic is this week, and the marquee game is Cedar Hill visiting Allen. The Eagles will have a new quarterback, but running back Selden Manning should carry the load early. Meanwhile, the Longhorns will be hungry to unleash their athletes, including wide receiver Quinn Bright. However, look for Allen to use home field advantage to take this one. Finally, Duncanville takes to the field for the first time since losing the 6A state title game on a Hail Mary. Anxious to erase that memory, the Panthers hope to take it out on Lancaster Friday night. Jaquindon Jackson and Tristan Smith should rack up big yardage, but never look past the athletic receivers from Lancaster. Since this is the first week of the season, that means we'll be picking our first MVP bobblehead from this week's games. Here are a few guys that should be in the running for that first bobblehead of the season. As mentioned before, Duncanville quarterback Jaquindon Jackson is about as motivated for redemption as anyone, and this year, he should be throwing the ball even more. Last year, Jackson used his legs a little more than his arm, but his future college, Texas, wants to see him toss it around, so look for Reginald Samples to let him air it out. Highland Park quarterback Chandler Morris should have a nice outing against Rockwall. The Jackets' offense is never a slouch, but their defense is sometimes susceptible to the big play, and that's where Morris comes in. The senior had a huge game against Rockwall in last year's opener and should do the same Friday night. Guyer running back Kedrick Cobbs could put up some big numbers this Friday against Aledo. Bearcat head coach Tim Buchanan let us know last week that he's replacing a lot on defense, and trying to stop Cobbs could be quite the task for an inexperienced group. This week on Wingstop Inside High School Sports, we'll have a story on how the Reedy football team showed appreciation to their band by cooling them down with some ice cream. Great sentiment by the Lions, and the band members were certainly grateful. Now let's take a look at our preseason rankings. Let's start with 6A. And you just can't ignore the Duncanville Panthers. They put together quite a non-district schedule with Lancaster, South Oak, Cliff, and St. John's out of DC to get them ready for the postseason. Coming in at 2 is the Allen Eagles. They may have lost Grant Tisdale and Theo Weiss, but the Eagles are always loaded and ready. The number 3 is South Lake Carroll. A lot will be expected from Clemson commit RJ Mickens as Riley Dodge starts his second year as head coach. Coming in at 4 is Rockwall. This may be a little high for the Jackets, but they can prove many naysayers wrong with a win week 1 over Highland Park.
The same goes for our number 5 team, Denton Guyer. They are experienced and ready for games against Aledo, Cedar Hill, and South Lake Carroll to prove their worth.
5A, and we have to go to Highland Park at number 1. They have a chance to win 4 straight titles, and with Randy Allen on the sidelines, the Scots are a hard team to beat. Number 2 is Aledo. We mentioned earlier about their dynamic trio, and the one who really makes them go is Jace McClellan. Without much competition in their district, a strong non-district start could help them down the line. At number 3 is Denton Ryan. Billy Bowman Jr. and Drew Sanders, along with an experienced Seth Hennigan at quarterback, make them lethal. However, until they can get past their nemesis, Highland Park, they still have something to prove. Number 4 is Frisco Lone Star, who will get their chance at the Scots in a couple of weeks.
And rounding out the top 5, we're going with Birdville. They have a tough 1-2 combination of Stone Earl and Ladarius Mixon.
We're not done yet, as it's time for the extra point. Our first attempt at the extra point is the brand spanking new $53 million stadium in Prosper. Children's Health Stadium at Prosper seats 12,000 fans and is said to rival colleges Allen and McKinney. It also has the largest video board in all of Texas high school football and several other state-of-the-art amenities that Prosper is the first and only stadium to have. Prosper football will make their debut at Children's Health Stadium on August 30th against Rowlett. Not only is there excitement in Prosper, there's excitement all around the metroplex for week 1 of high school football. These are some of my favorite posts found on social media. That's all we have for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. This will help get you ready for the best 30 minutes of your sports weekend. Inside High School Sports, Saturday on NBC5 at 6:30 p.m., hosted by Pat Doan. Thank you for watching The Warmup, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents. Be sure to visit geico.com/DFW for the location nearest you. I'm Ashley Bullington. We'll see you under the Friday Night Lights.